Unfortunately for little girls and little boys as well growing up right now, we look at pop culture as well. And I know right now on social media, you're kind of having a back and forth with a certain rapper after his latest music video, I believe, involved actually summoning Satan in some sense. You have to tell me what's going on there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's honestly hard to explain in a safe way for TV, but this rapper Lil Nas, who you may know because he had the song Old Town Road, he has a new song out. And keep in mind, all these young kids, all these minors, teenagers, and younger than that have subscribed to his YouTube channel because of Old Town Road, which was one of the biggest songs of the year last year. His new song and his music video, he is having sexual relations with Satan. And I'm not exaggerating that. I mean, it's as mature as you could get in a music video format and not get kicked off YouTube. And it's getting sent out and pushed to all those subscribers of his on YouTube, many of which are children. So I called him out and said, this is the degradation of our society. This is why our culture is rotting at the core. It's because culturally, we have uplifted a group of people who will do anything for clicks, anything for money. And they're at the point where they know the crazier they get and the more sexualized their content is, the more controversy they'll stoke and the more views they're going to get. And they drive those views to young kids. And so this is why you see a generation of kids who are getting more and more confused about their sexuality and what sort of sexual behaviors are normal than ever before. I don't remember a time in history where it was quite like this in terms of how much sexualization is pushed on kids. Coming from that industry myself, I know they know what they're doing. They see the analytics behind the videos. They know they're targeting kids. They know they're targeting minors. And the labels do it anyways. And not only do they do it anyways, they plan to do this. So parents need to know, if you don't know already and you're not on top of technology, ask a friend to help you so that you monitor what your kids are watching, because they may subscribe to something in good faith that they have no idea is going to push content like this later on. And parents need to be on top of it, because ultimately, there's nobody else looking out for your kids. And this type of content, it is going to lead some really dark places, because it goes from this video to the voting booth eventually. Because the stuff that they then push on their social media, certain rights or certain bills that they want to support that are supported by the Democratic Party. So, we have to say no to this pro-sex work agenda, this pro-sexualization of kids agenda that's coming from the Democrats. It is inappropriate. And it is something that we need to stand firmly against.
It honestly just breaks my heart just seeing what kids have to deal with right now in the media, and like we were saying also in politics as well. There just seems to be no hope, no escape, at least at this point. But looking at your back and forth with this rapper Lil Nas, you actually brought up a really great point that I was hoping you could elaborate on, because he tried to dismiss some of your concerns, saying, "Oh, I'm just dirty dancing," I guess, was saying like it's no big deal, And he mentions how there were two mass shootings recently in Atlanta and Boulder, Colorado. And he says, "See, so focus on that. Don't focus on what I'm doing." But I thought you did a very good job in tying back in together all of that, because as you mentioned, America's always been saturated in guns. That's not anything new. That didn't just happen yesterday. And yet this culture almost of the mass shooter, where you go to school, you go to theaters, you go to grocery stores, and it's only been the past 30 or so years where now you kind of look over your shoulder. If someone drops something and it makes a loud noise, people turn and they look because they're afraid, was that a gunshot? And that's only, again, something recently. It wasn't like in 1856 that you were afraid that Tommy's going to grab his dad's hunting gun and bring it to the local schoolhouse. It's something more recent, and so you tie it back in with the degradation of culture. I'd like for you to expand a little bit on that as well.
Absolutely. So he came back at me saying I should be worried about mass shootings. And I made the point to him that mass shootings are not new, or they are fairly new in terms of our recent history, but guns are not new. We have had these same types of guns, AR-15, semi-automatic rifles, semi-automatic pistols, shotguns. We've had those for, as long as I've been alive and before I was alive. We did not have the mass shooting problem that we have now, though. And the reason for that, what's changed? The guns didn't change. The ammo didn't change. Our culture changed. We have a culture that does not value life anymore. Our culture now is not just focused on, things like death and drugs and sex and sexualizing children so early. It goes beyond just that. It goes to, how we value culture. And we've put this intense value on Hollywood entertainment in general for our children. And they then grow up and they have this gaping hole in them, really, that's missing something. And that thing that they're missing is that innate morality, that base of innate morality that we used to be built up with, and that respect for life that people used to have. Now they're in a culture that celebrates the anonymous person online tearing somebody down. And as long as we celebrate that new culture of darkness, we're going to have these problems. So if you want to change the mass shooting problem, change our culture and don't release videos like this that celebrate hedonism. You need to celebrate things that would culturally strengthen us as a society. That is what will change our mass shooting problem. Getting rid of guns won't do anything. As we've seen just this week with Hunter Biden, when you have gun laws, criminals break them to get guns. Just like Hunter Biden broke the gun laws to get his gun. That's what criminals do. So if you want to make our country safer, fix our culture. We don't need to fix a gun problem because the guns are not the problem. Our culture is.
That is so well put. And like you're saying, we need to move into a culture of life and not this culture of death that we currently have. Robby, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come join us tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. See you soon.